Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another Triple M, the microwave noise, as we all come to know and love. We're taking a look at the subreddit for MapleStory over the last week, and we're seeing what's happening. As always, if you want to see different content, interact with the community, upvote, post stuff, just interact, man. I think this week there's a large patch that happened on the KMS server, the KMS test server. Where the fuck is it? It's so bizarre to me. Wow, why is it so far down? It's strange to me how far down, like, the new KMST stuff is. It's bizarre. We'll also open up the Kanna false ban stuff, because that's pretty bad. We'll take a look. We'll start here. We will start here. So basically, there's a new KMST patch that happened a couple days ago, and the TLDR is here. We'll open it up on Orange Mushroom just to make it more readable. But basically, the TLDR is pretty much every class in the game got reworked to some degree. And the main thing that got reworked in this is the fact that there used to be different variations of, like, burst timing for classes, right? Some classes were 2-minute, some classes were 3-minute. The largest part of this patch essentially changed every single class into a 2-minute burst class. You can see here the skill changes. There's a ton of skill changes, because basically every single class in the game got converted from 3-minute to 2-minute, and if they were already 2-minute, they still got some changes on some classes, numbers, tweaks, etc. Basically, I don't know how I personally feel about this change. Because the thing about it is, right, I think having 3-minute classes and 2-minute classes coexist in the game as it currently stands probably doesn't make a lot of sense. And a lot of people point to, like, I don't know, like, the normalization of, like, identities and stuff as, like, a reason not to do stuff like this, because it's like, oh, if every class is just a 2-minute class and every class plays the same, you just play the class that has the nicest looking visuals. And it's like, in some regard, I kind of understand that, and I definitely don't think it's, like, necessarily a wrong, like, criticism. But I think in a game where you essentially build your party around what your class's burst timer is already, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to have 2-minute classes and 3-minute classes in the game, because it's not like they will ever really intertwine or interact in a party setting where it matters, right? Like, you're probably not going to duo X Lotus with a 2-minute class if you're a 3-minute class, right? That kind of shit. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but I'm saying that it's less effective than if you just duoed it with another 3-minute class, or if you're a 2-minute class, you duoed it with another 2-minute class, right? So I don't know. I don't know how I personally feel about it. Obviously, there were a lot of balance changes as well. Apparently, Blaster got very heavily nerfed due to some certain things. I'm not going to go over, like, all of the class changes. I'm not going to go over, like, any of the class changes, to be honest. Like, if you want to read this, I will definitely link the Orange Mushroom blog post in the description here if you want to go through this, because it is a massive fucking patch. Humongous patch. And there's so many different things. One of the most notable things for me personally, and for my fucking boss mules, you can auto buff roll of the dice, which is huge. I hate this fucking skill. And I hate that you can't auto buff it, and they finally made it so you can. So good. Another thing is, basically every class got an iframe. I'm not sure if every single class has an iframe now, but I do know iframes got added to a lot of classes. Maybe not all of them, but most classes should have an iframe now. Yeah. There's no real, like, DPM chart that's out as of me recording this video that's accurate, that shows the before and after, like, damage differences to all the changed classes. There was a chart that was floating around Discord a few days ago. If you do see that chart, just know it is very, very incorrect. Some classes may be correct, but most classes are not correct. So I wouldn't like look at that and be like, well, my class sucks ass now. Damn, this looks sick. I wish I could actually see skill effects. Skill effects in MapleStory look so fucking good, by the way. It's just a shame that you never get to see them. Because if you want to see the boss, you can't really have skill effects visible. But like I said, beware if you see like a DPM chart. Because to my knowledge, one that is accurate hasn't really been released yet. Just know that if your class lost damage, it sucks, but I don't know. It's just the design choice that they're going with going forward, and it is what it is, I guess. In the case of Blaster, though, Blaster did kind of get, like, mechanically changed, and that's, like, where the majority of their nerf comes from. I think, like, one of their skills got, like, a massive delay added to it for some reason. Shit like that probably shouldn't exist, but hey, I'm not a fucking developer. I'm just a guy who plays the game. Anyways, I'm just gonna slowly keep scrolling through this. If you want to see it, you can. All the Oz rings also got altered from 3 minutes to 2 minutes as well. So, like, the game is designed around 2-minute classes now. That's the whole idea behind this patch. Converting everything from 3-minute to 2-minute. And that's just the angle that they're taking. It is, interesting, normalized. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, on one hand, I understand it. On the other hand, I also understand it from the other angle. Ultimately, I guess I'll just have to see how it plays out before I can give, like, a more nuanced take on it. Because I feel like this is one of those things that I'm not going to really know how I actually feel about it until I interact with it and play with it for a bit. Obviously, I could definitely hop on the whole, like, bandwagon of, like, change equal bad, because I'm not somebody that particularly likes change, especially if things feel okay as it is. But when it comes to my video games, I try to relax a little bit, and I try to take things at face value and try them before I make, like, sweeping judgments. And on paper, I can at least understand why they're doing this. It just depends on, like, the future content and what they end up doing to classes that maybe got giga nerfed for some reason that probably didn't need to be giga nerfed. Yeah, I don't know. Sweeping changes are always scary, so I get it. Nightlord getting an iframe. Yeah, I mean, Nightwalker's getting an iframe too. Pretty much every class. Poster means that all classes will have an iframe and a movement skill. Wind Archer and BM do not have true iframe. I'm sure there's others. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. This is why I made the distinction that most classes are getting an iframe, most classes have an iframe, but maybe not all classes have them. But it's clear to me that they want to make classes more even, rather than just having, like, one or two, like, giga fucking, like, busted broken classes, and then having, like, another subsect of, like, good bossing classes, and then, like, the mid classes, and then, like, the bad classes. I don't necessarily think stuff like this is bad. I mean, call me controversial, but I do think every class in the game should probably have, like, a base level iframe skill. Some classes should have better iframes than other classes, but every class should have a baseline iframe, for sure. Maybe that's controversial, but I come from the fucking, the throes of Lost Ark, in where I'm somebody that said fucking, you should have a dedicated counter skill, too. Because in that game, sometimes you have to use counters as part of your rotation, and you just can't counter, so some classes just don't have a counter, basically. I don't know. Look, man, stuff like that I think is essential to the game, and I think it should just be baseline. I don't think having some things be baseline are a class's identity. Like, a class having an iframe is not really an identity, right? I don't know. That's my take on it, at least. You don't always have to agree, and that's the beautiful part about opinions. Everybody has an opinion. And you can respectfully agree or disagree with people. You don't have to be like, well, your opinion fucking sucks, and I hate you because your opinion does not align with my opinion. Some opinions, yes, but we're talking about a mushroom game. Mushroom game opinions are, you know, low stakes, for sure. I can't tell if Hero is buffed. From what I understand, Hero is buffed. Buccaneer is also allegedly pretty buffed. But that's like the biggest news going forward for this week. I'll stop yapping because I could be talking about this shit forever. It's just a lot of changes. And like I said, I will link this in the description if you want to watch this, if you want to read this yourself, if you haven't already. And then this is the last other big post that I did want to touch on because I remember reading this and I'm just like, sounds like Nexon, unfortunately. But basically, thread is, Nexon just let the false Kanna bans expire without apology, compensation, or even acknowledgement. This sets a dangerous precedent, and it could happen to you next. On April 1st, you know, a funny April Fool's Day joke, a wave of Kanna players were banned for 7 days under accusations of suspicious activity or hacking. Many, including my own sister, were doing absolutely nothing. Some were literally AFK in town like Henny when the bans were applied. This isn't speculation. Multiple players were kicked from the game repeatedly with suspicious activity detected warnings before finally being locked out, meaning these were real-time flags, not delayed bans from prior violations. This is also very true. Something to note, if you get continually kicked off the game for suspicious activity detected, I think you get auto-banned after like 3 or 4 of these. So if you get disconnected for suspicious activity once, you can relog, but if you get it again, you probably should stop trying to log on for a little bit. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but if you don't want to get auto-banned, you probably shouldn't. That's all I'm saying. But today these 7 days bans expired. I mean, it was 4 days ago. But here's what's unacceptable. Nexon chose to let the bans expire naturally with no public announcement, no explanation, no apology, no compensation. These players are now permanently behind due to FOMO-based event designs, blah, blah, blah. And worse, this sets a dangerous precedent. I mean, this is all... Yeah, it sucks, but it's like, it is what it is. I think the more core aspect of this is the fact that you can get auto-banned for doing nothing, and then you can submit a ticket and not get banned, or unbanned, excuse me, and you have to just wait out the fucking false ban. I think that's the problem, less so the quote-unquote, like, things you lost out on. Like, obviously it sucks, but this isn't the big deal to me. The big deal is the fact that you can get auto-banned for no reason, submit a ticket, and then have to wait the auto-ban out, and just not get a response at all. Like, that's the main problem to me, right? Nexon's anti-cheat system is flawed. They refuse to acknowledge it. Following the rules will not protect you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, these are fucking stretching a little bit. This is the real one. Ban appeals are useless. GMs copy-paste the same response. Ban appeals are kind of useless, and I think they definitely need to be looked into more. I feel like... I think a lot of games do it in this way where, like, if you submit an appeal, it probably will get auto-denied by, like, an automatic appeal system. But then you're usually able to resubmit an appeal one time, and if you resubmit the appeal, generally that means a human will look at it. I feel like you definitely should have a human looking at it at some point in the process. Not just a human copy and pasting a generic response denying the appeal without looking at it, but like genuinely looking at it. Not to say that that's what Nexon does. I have no fucking idea how the process at Nexon works. I just know that they don't handle ban appeals very well, historically. And it shows, especially when the Kannas get auto-banned every couple months, because this happens literally every couple months. But then the rest of this is just kind of anecdotal, and it sucks. But it's a teaser for Kanna deletion. Step 1 is getting rid of the player base. This shit sucks, and I do agree it needs to be changed. But what can you do other than just make it known that the shit needs to be changed? Any hoosers, that's it for this week. I will see you guys all next week. And thanks for hanging out with me. Like the video if you like it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye!